Man Between Perishing and Eternity, Reflections on the Realm of Barzakh. Lesson 1. What is the meaning of Barzakh, linguistically and terminologically? In Arabic, the word Barzakh refers to a barrier or partition, meaning something that separates two things and prevents them from merging. This term is also used to indicate an obstacle or division between two entities. From a terminological perspective, Barzakh in Islamic thought refers to the phase that comes after a person's death and before the resurrection and reckoning on the Day of Judgment. It is the transitional stage that the human being experiences after leaving this worldly life. In this realm, a person is shown the image of their deeds, meaning the manifestations of what they did during their earthly life. This presentation is not the final judgment, but rather a phase where the effects of one's actions, whether good or bad, are revealed. The realm of Barzakh is a unique intermediate state. It takes something from the material world and something from the world of the unseen, Alam al-Mithal. It is neither purely physical nor purely spiritual, but rather a blend of both. According to Islamic belief, the soul remains aware of what it has done in its earthly life during this stage. However, this is not the same for everyone, as people are divided into different categories in Barzakh, as we will clarify further, God willing. The reality of actions in Barzakh. Every action that a person performs in their earthly life does not vanish. Rather, its effects are recorded in some way in the realm of Barzakh. This means that deeds are not lost at the moment of death, but remain preserved in a form that reflects their nature and quality. When a person transitions into Barzakh, they will be shown the impact of their actions, meaning that every deed will appear to them in the form it had imprinted upon their soul during life. This presentation serves as a reminder of rights and responsibilities. It will reveal to a person how they conducted themselves in life and what they rightfully deserve as a consequence, as stated in the Quran. Indeed, it is your deeds that are returned to you, a recompense for what they used to do. These verses emphasize that reward or punishment is directly linked to the retrieval of one's own actions in their true form. Every individual is recompensed according to their deeds, and nothing remains hidden. Rather, every action is made visible as a rightful outcome. The significance of knowledge and righteous deeds. Another important point to highlight is that knowledge, meaning beneficial understanding, and righteous deeds are not just superficial attributes or additional qualities of a person. Rather, they are the fundamental elements that shape a person's very essence. A person's acceptance of knowledge and good deeds is what elevates them and enables them to transform into a being of greater light and humanity. When an individual embraces beneficial knowledge and acts in accordance with righteous deeds, their soul grows and becomes more luminous, reflecting the evolution of their inner existence. The growth of the soul through knowledge and righteous deeds. A person's acceptance of knowledge and righteous action enables them to evolve and transform into a being of greater light and humanity. When an individual embraces beneficial knowledge and performs righteous deeds accordingly, their soul flourishes, becoming more radiant and luminous, reflecting the inner development of their existence. Every good deed is not merely a moral virtue. Rather, it plays a significant role in refining a person's character and elevating their existence toward greater perfection and humanity. In other words, a virtuous act bestows upon a person an immense human value. The impact of knowledge and deeds in the afterlife. In the afterlife, beneficial knowledge refines and highlights the human soul, shaping a person's spiritual state and level of awareness. Meanwhile, righteous deeds determine a person's status and bodily form in the next existence. This means that the actions performed in the worldly life leave an imprint on the form in which a person will appear in the afterlife. Every individual will manifest in the hereafter in accordance with their knowledge and deeds, making the outcome of their earthly life visibly apparent in their final form. Thus, this world serves as a field where a person sows the seeds of their actions, which they will reap in the afterlife. The human being as a farmer of their own fate. In reality, a human being is like a farmer who chooses to nurture themselves with knowledge and good actions. The seeds and cultivation represent their efforts and endeavors in life, while the harvest is the result of those actions in the next world. Through the words of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, this world is the cultivation field of the hereafter. We understand that the hereafter resembles a flourishing garden where fruitful trees grow. The roots of these trees exist within the human soul itself. The effects of experience on the soul. Everything a person experiences, whether pleasure or pain, is part of their internal awareness. These experiences act as seeds that sprout into results in the next life. A person's acquired traits, whether from good or bad experiences, shape the ultimate purpose of their actions. Everything they go through affects the form of their deeds and leaves lasting imprints on their psychological faculties. The soul's reflection in the afterlife. These acquired characteristics are what determine the appearance of a person's actions in the hereafter, where each deed carries a value that reflects their level of humanity. The inner faculties and attributes of the soul, which are the core materials that form the Barzakhian images, spiritual reflections in the realm of Barzakh after death, play a central role in one's judgment. In this regard, scholars and sages assert that whoever attains beneficial knowledge and righteous deeds and allows their essence to be shaped by them will manifest in a perfected or ideal form. However, those who deviate from these values or engage in oppression and wrongdoing will not attain internal perfection. Instead, their form will appear less developed and spiritually diminished. In other words, tyrants and transgressors will never reach the level of complete humanity that is attained by those who nurture their souls and refine their inner faculties through knowledge and righteous actions. The difference between spiritual growth and regression. This variation in spiritual development means that the reward and judgment in the hereafter will reveal clear distinctions in levels of inner maturity and elevation. Each individual's worth will be measured by what was cultivated within their soul during their earthly life. In Barzakh, a person attains their ideal body, a fully developed spiritual form that reflects their level of spiritual growth and inner elevation. In truth, their ideal body is an expression of their purified inner essence, which was built and refined during their lifetime. In the hereafter, a person receives their acquired body, which reflects the impact of their life experiences. This body embodies what was planted within the soul through their choices and actions, the manifestation of one's inner reality. Thus, a person's appearance in the hereafter is a complete reflection of both their pure inner essence and the external influences they absorbed throughout their life. The perspective of scholars on the human being in the afterlife. Scholars hold a view regarding the state of a person on the Day of Judgment, stating that whoever acquires beneficial knowledge and performs righteous deeds, allowing their essence to be shaped by them, will manifest in an ideal or perfected form. On the other hand, those who stray from these values or commit injustice and transgression will not attain inner perfection, and their form will be less developed and spiritually diminished. In other words, oppressors and wrongdoers will never reach the level of complete humanity that is attained by those who nurture their souls and refine their inner faculties through knowledge and righteous actions. The reflection of one's inner state in the afterlife. This difference in levels of inner growth means that the reward and judgment in the hereafter will reveal clear distinctions in spiritual maturity and elevation. Thus, each person's worth will be based on what was cultivated within their soul during their earthly life. In Barzakh, a person receives their ideal body, a fully developed and perfected form in the afterlife that reflects their level of spiritual growth and inner elevation. In reality, this ideal body is a manifestation of the soul's pure inner essence, which has been shaped and elevated throughout one's life. However, in the hereafter, a person receives their acquired body, the form that reflects the impact of their experiences in life. This acquired body is a representation of what was planted within the soul through their choices, actions, and experiences. The complete image of a person in the afterlife. Thus, the human form in the hereafter is a comprehensive outcome that merges the individual's pure inner essence with the external influences they absorbed during their lifetime. The Barzakhian image, a reflection of the soul's beauty and maturity. The spiritual image of a person in Barzakh is a reflection of their soul's beauty and maturity, as well as the effects of their deeds and worldly experiences that have left an imprint on them. In essence, a person will be presented in the hereafter in a form that reflects their inner refinement and the level of purification they achieved in their worldly life. This means that the body appearing in the afterlife is not merely a continuation of the physical matter we know in this world. Rather, it is the embodiment of the accumulated metaphysical images within the soul, shaped by one's knowledge and actions. These metaphysical images are deep-rooted spiritual meanings and realizations that have materialized in the person as a result of their experiences and practices in this world, ultimately forming their afterlife existence in a way that reveals the truth of what was within them. The resurrection begins at the moment of death. The process of resurrection begins individually for each person at the moment of their death. At that point, the soul recreates what was stored within it, and the consequences of the person's deeds and acquired knowledge become apparent. Then, when the day of judgment commences, each person is summoned for accountability, and their life's actions and knowledge are presented before them. This presentation transforms into a clear judgment that reveals their level of spiritual and moral maturity. The unveiling of the inner self in the afterlife. This means that one's inner state, intentions, and beliefs, which may have been hidden in this world, will become fully exposed in the afterlife. As Allah Almighty states, "On that day, the secrets shall be laid bare." Nothing from your inner reality will remain concealed. Everything within you will be revealed and judged accordingly. Thus, the afterlife body serves as the ultimate manifestation of all that was sown in the soul during one's earthly life. It represents the sum of one's inner acquisitions and becomes the form through which a person stands before the divine judgment. Death, a transition, not an end. Death is not the annihilation of a person, but rather a transition, a moment of separation between one's true essence and the external identities and attachments acquired in this worldly life. Throughout life, a person becomes associated with various external factors, such as social relationships, cultural affiliations, material possessions, and societal roles. However, these attachments are not an essential part of one's true self. Rather, they are external extensions that shape one's temporary, outward identity. At the moment of death, these attachments and affiliations are stripped away. The external image, a person built in the world, dissolves. In the afterlife, only the true essence of a person remains, not the materialistic or social attributes they accumulated. What endures beyond death is not the external persona, but the core reality of the soul itself. Love of existence and aversion to non-existence. The soul, in its essence and innate nature, loves existence and abhors non-existence and annihilation. This means that human beings are naturally created with an innate drive toward continuity and survival, and this instinct is part of Allah's divine creation. The soul does not accept the idea of cessation or obliteration, for it carries within itself an intrinsic desire for life and continuity. Allah, in His wisdom, has created souls with an inherent inclination toward existence and endurance, and has embedded within them an aversion to extinction and non-existence. This indicates that humanity's longing for life is not a mere coincidence or a limited human acquisition, but rather an intrinsic part of the divine order in which humans were created. Man's fear of death, in reality, stems from his fear of himself, that is, from the loss of that essential aspect of his being that desires existence. Thus, fear is not merely about physical extinction or non-existence in its literal sense, but rather about losing one's true self and becoming distanced from its core essence. From this, we understand that the soul is inherently designed to seek eternity and ascension, and that death is not an end, but rather a transformative shift in the form and essence of human existence. Death, a transition, not an end. The Quranic verses refer to death as wafa, al-wafa, rather than faught, al-faught. Wafa denotes the complete taking of life and the total transition of one's human identity, along with all their experiences and deeds. The word wafa is derived from istifa, meaning complete fulfillment or full retrieval. Thus, at the moment of death, a person's entire existence is drawn away, including their knowledge and understanding, their actions and deeds, whether good or bad. All of this is taken at once and transitions with them into the afterlife, while the physical body, devoid of true value, remains behind, allowing the person to enter the realm of Barzakh, the intermediary world, with their ideal form. The rational soul and its spiritual life. The rational soul, al-nafs al-natika, is the true essence of a person, and it experiences a spiritual life that is not measured by the passage of time or the condition of the physical body. The soul remains in a state of awareness, whether the body is asleep or awake, which indicates that it is not bound by the laws of matter and time. Philosophers state that human beings originate from the universal intellect, al-aql al-kuli, and the universal soul, al-nafs al-kuliya. They support this by citing the Quranic verse, "And he taught Adam the names, all of them." 31. This suggests that knowledge is inherently bestowed upon humanity, much like the concept of divine enlightenment, attributed by some philosophers to the universal intellect as the primary source of knowledge. The manifestation of knowledge and intellect in the teachings of Ahlul Bayt, peace be upon them. This understanding is further reinforced by prophetic traditions, such as the saying of Prophet Muhammad or Imam Ali alayhi salam, "Whoever knows himself knows his Lord." This narration invites deep introspection into the self, urging one to uncover the light of inherent knowledge that is not acquired externally, but is fundamentally embedded within the core of human existence. Similarly, a narration from Imam Jafar al-Saddam states, "Indeed, intellect and spirit are among the blessings of Allah, through which a person attains self-awareness and recognition of the Creator." Even if these statements do not explicitly use the terms universal intellect or universal soul, their broader meaning aligns with the idea of a singular cosmic source of intellect and divine enlightenment. Thus, knowledge and the soul's journey toward enlightenment are central to one's development in both this world and the next. This discussion will be continued in future lectures, inshallah. You've been with the Sacred Narratives Hub by Mansoura Shabiri.